Education often begins with a dream of a place where curiosity thrives, where ideas grow freely, and where every learner feels supported. We imagine classrooms filled with energy and collaboration, where students work side by side, discovering new perspectives and shaping their own future. In ideal learning environment, everything feels possible. The space is bright, the tools are ready, the opportunities are clear. Yet behind these dreams lies a quieter reality, one shaped by differences in resources, access, and support. And the more closely we look, the more we begin to see the cracks in the foundation. Across communities, education takes on many forms. Some classrooms, especially in well-developed areas, are equipped with modern technology, comfortable seating, and digital tools that enhance learning. Screens light up the room, the internet is fast and reliable, and students have access to the materials they need. But in other places, learning environments look very different. The rooms may be older, with traditional chalkboards and limited equipment. Students might share resources or work with minimal technology. The environment still holds the power to tech, but it requires more creativity and resilience. These two classrooms represent more than just physical differences. They reflect a deeper inequality that affects how students learn, how they progress, and how they see their place in the world. Though both spaces aim to inspire, the opportunities they offer are not always the same. And this disparity quietly shapes the lives of countless learners. Every journey in education begins with a place that inspires. Here at Mefaluang University, standing at the heart of the campus, the landscape speaks of possibility. A place where knowledge grows, where ideas are shaped, and where future begin. But beyond this beautiful environment lies a question that touches learners everywhere. What does access to education really look like? Because while students learn in modern, well-supported environments, others study in communities far from the city sources. Hidden in the hills and forests, these schools carry a different story, one of resilience, adaptation, and quiet determination. The distance is more than geographical. It reflects a gap in technology, support, and opportunity. Yet the desire to learn remains just as strong. And across even more distant regions, students grow surrounded by history, culture, and landscape shaped over centuries. Their environment is rich, but the path to modern learning tools is often limited. This contrast between urban and rural, between modern and traditional, remind us of the diverse realities learners face, and they challenge us to imagine an education system that reaches every student, no matter where their journey begins. And in places shaped by time and tradition, students live among history. Their world is rich in culture but distant from modern learning tools. This landscape reminds us that education is not a single experience. It is a collection of different realities, and together they challenge us to imagine new ways to support every learner wherever they are. But then, an unexpected disruption swept across the world, a pandemic that combined health crisis, social challenges, and economic instability. Almost overnight, schools closed their doors. Campuses that once echoed with conversation and movement suddenly feel silent. Hallways emptied, classrooms froze in time. Students everywhere turned to the news for answers, watching as uncertainty unfolded. Education, something so constant, so foundational, was now transformed. The shift to online learning was swift and unavoidable. For many students, this digital transition was manageable. With access to stable Wi-Fi, personal devices, and quiet study space, they could adjust. But for others, the change exposed something far more troubling: the digital divide. Not every household had reliable internet. Not every student had their own laptop. Some had to search for a signal, studying outdoors or in public spaces. Others shared devices with family members or missed lessons during network outage. Learning did not stop, but for many, it became significantly harder. In a single moment, the world changed. Streets that once echoed with footsteps fell silent. School closed their doors, classrooms sat empty, and the routine of daily learning froze. Across the globe, millions of children woke up to a new reality, one where desks, blackboards, and lunch breaks disappeared overnight. This sudden disruption tested not only the resilience of students and teachers, but the strengths of our entire education system. The world reminded that learning is deeply connected to stability, connection, and community. When schools closed down, many students lost far more than lessons. They lost support, structure, and access to the tools that helped them grow. As the virus spread, countless unseen heroes stepped forward. While the world stayed home, essential workers, cleaners, janitors, and maintenance staff risked their own safety to protect others. They sanitized classrooms, buses, corridors, and entire neighborhood, working long nights and early mornings so that one day students could return safely. Their role in reopening learning spaces was vital. Without them, schools, transportation, and public areas could not function. Their dedication was a powerful reminder: education does not begin and end inside the classroom. It relies on a network of people whose commitment keeps learning possible, even in the hardest of times. School shut down, learning moved into living rooms, bedrooms, and kitchen tables. Teachers adapted overnight, streaming lessons, preparing digital resources, and finding new ways to keep students engaged from a distance. For many learners, online education opened new possibilities: flexible learning, digital tools, and the chance to connect with classrooms beyond their city or country. But the shift also exposed deep inequalities. Not every home had internet access, a quiet study space, or even a computer. Millions of students struggled to stay connected, falling behind not because of ability, but because of circumstances beyond their control. SDG4 challenged us to close this digital divide. Technology should empower learning, not separate students by privilege. Quality education must be available to every children, everywhere, whether in a school building or at home. Not every learner had a quiet room. Not every student had a strong signal. Learning became uneven. Success depended not on talent or motivation, but on access. These hidden inequalities grew wider, affecting communities already vulnerable. In the face of these challenges, a new question emerged. How can we create a classroom that supports every learner, no matter where they come from? The answer lies in reimagining education as flexible, inclusive, and connected. Communities began working together, students helping students, teachers creating new ways to communicate, and institutions providing resources to bridge the gap. Mobile libraries, shared study space, and digital support systems became lifelines for learners navigating this new landscape. And from these efforts, four foundational pillars emerge, guiding the vision for a new kind of education. Integrated digital pedagogy, empowering teachers to use digital tools effectively, ensuring learners remain interactive and engaging. Modular curriculum design, giving students the freedom to learn anytime and anywhere, adapting content to their pace and environment. Robust educational technology infrastructure, providing reliable connectivity, effective digital tools. Strengthen learning communities, creating networks of support through collaboration, shared resources, and peer mentorship. These pillars work together to create what we now call a classroom without walls. A classroom that travels with the learner, adapts to their needs, and ensures no one is left behind. Pandemic changed education forever, but it also taught the world a powerful lesson. Learning must continue no matter the crisis. Achieving Sustainable Development Goal 4 means building education systems that are flexible, inclusive, and resilient. Systems that reach every learner, protect every future, and open every door. Because education is more than lessons and textbooks, it is opportunity, equality, hope, and the foundation of a better world. As months passed, the effects of this disruption became clear. Students struggled with motivation, isolation, and the pressure of adapting to a completely new way of learning. Teachers too faced immense challenges, adjusting lessons, managing connectivity issues, and trying to keep their students engaged through screens. When school finally reopened, the physical world of education felt change. Some classrooms looked worn. Students returned with varying levels of readiness. The educational gap, already present before the pandemic, had quietly widened. Some learners had surged ahead, supported by technology and stable environments. Others had fallen behind, weighed down by months of inconsistent access and interrupted learning. It was clear that simply returning to normal was not enough. Education needed rebuilding. Education has always been at the heart of growth and opportunity. Every day, students around the world show up ready to learn, explore, and build the skills that shape their futures. Students enter a classroom filled with hope. They listen, they question, they grow. Education is more than books and lessons. It is the promise of a better tomorrow. But no one could have prepared them for how suddenly their world was about to change. Education is the beginning of possibility. Every day, students walk into a classroom carrying dreams, some big, some small, all powerful. In these spaces, they discover new ideas, practice new skills, and build the confidence they need to shape their future. But education is not only about textbooks and lessons. It is about community. They shared laughter between classmates, the energy of discussion, the connection between teachers and learners who understand that each student deserves a chance to succeed. For years, this routine felt certain. Millions of students sat side by side, writing notes, sharing supplies, and growing together in a room full of lights. Now, one imagined how quickly all of this could disappear. Then came the pandemic. In a matter of days, school bells stopped ringing, chairs sat empty, hallways silent. Around the world, education systems were forced to reinvent themselves overnight. Instead of desks, students faced computer screens. Instead of raising hands, they unmuted microphones. Classrooms became virtual, structured across neighborhoods, cities, and countries. Bedrooms became the school spaces. Kitchen tables became writing desks. Parents and siblings became study partners and support system. The digital world suddenly carried the weight of education. And though learning continued, it was not simple. Internet signals dropped, voices glitched, students felt alone behind screens, and many had to balance school with household responsibility. Yet, despite these challenges, they showed extraordinary resilience. They attended lessons through distraction, submitted assignments through unstable connection, and kept their education alive through uncertainty. Their commitment proved a powerful truth. Learning is not confined to a classroom. It lives in the determination of the learner. As time passed, classrooms remained empty. A learning fatigue began to settle in. Students struggled to stay engaged. Teachers struggled to stay connected. When campuses finally reopened, the aftermath was clear: disrupted progress, weakened confidence, and a widening gap in achievement. Behind every online lesson was a hidden effort. Late night planning, hundreds of messages, hours spent preparing materials, and troubleshooting technology. Teachers became more than educators. They became IT support, counselors, and motivators, also lifeline for students who struggle in silence. Some taught from kitchen counters, some from small home offices, some while managing their own children's classes at the same time. Their dedication kept education moving when everything else seemed to stand still. The pandemic changed the world of education forever. It exposed inequality. Students without internet, without devices, without support, risked being left behind. But it also highlighted hope, the courage of students, the devotion of teachers, and determination of families who did everything they could to keep learning alive. SDG4 challenges to build education systems that are flexible, inclusive, and strong enough to withstand any crisis. Because education is not just about finishing courses, it is about protecting futures. It is about giving every child in every community the chance to learn, grow, and shape their own destiny. The classroom of today may look different, but the mission remains the same: to ensure quality education for all, no matter the distance, no matter the difficulty, no matter the moment in history. A new approach emerged, one built on 4 pillars. 1. Integrated digital pedagogy, ensuring every teacher can guide learning with modern tools. Number 2. Modular curriculum design, giving students the freedom to learn anywhere, anytime. Number 3. Robust EdTech infrastructure, making access reliable rather than privileged. Number 4. Strengthen learning communities, because connection is the heart of education. These pillars create a classroom without walls, one that adapts to the needs of every learner. A future where every learner has the tools to grow, the support to thrive, and the opportunity to dream. Today, classrooms, whether in bustling cities or quiet rural areas, have the power to connect like never before. Through technology, community, and renewed educational vision, the gap between different learning environments begins to close. Students who once felt disconnected now feel themselves supported. Opportunities that once seemed distant are now within reach. Education becomes more than a physical room. It becomes an ecosystem of connection, flexible, inclusive, and filled with possibility. This is the new promise of learning, a promise that every learner, regardless of background, deserves access to knowledge, support, and the chance to dream boldly. A classroom without walls, built for everyone. But from this disruption came a new understanding. Education needed resilience, flexibility, and inclusivity. Communities, schools, and learners began picking up these pieces. And slowly, hope returned, not as restoration of the old system, but as the beginning of something stronger. With this foundation, distance begins to shrink. The gap between the city classroom and the countryside classroom grows smaller. Technology becomes a bridge, not a barrier, and learning becomes something every student can access, no matter where they live or what they have. Today, we look toward a brighter future. The distance between the city classroom and the countryside classrooms begins to close, one where education is flexible, connected, and inclusive. A future where every learner has the tools to grow, the support to thrive, and the opportunity to dream. Students from every background stand connected, learning in harmony, supported by innovation, community, and shared purpose. The future of education is not just a place, it is a promise that every learner, everywhere, deserves the chance to grow. This is the promise of the new classroom, a classroom without walls, built for everyone.